Hey guys, tonight, looking forward to this because I want to talk about real stuff. This whole week it's been inundated in the media about the Kavanaugh hearing, and while I'm not going to touch on that. I've learned my lesson a long time ago. You can't talk about controversial things because you'll get lambasted by people that don't really care about you. But we've heard some really ugly, nasty things this week in the media related to this hearing. And the thing that I want to talk about tonight is not, again, nothing to do with the hearing, but we need to counter all this negativity that we've witnessed. We need to counter it with something greater, something more awesome, a subject that we all need to hear about. And perhaps maybe tonight we'll present it in a new and different light than we're typically used to. But let's talk for just a few minutes tonight about real love. Real love, not the phony kind that's only for a season. Not lust, that's really only for just one thing. No, let's talk about real love, a love that listens to you and accepts you in spite of your faults, with no exceptions, none. Unconditional love does not have any exceptions to that love, to that acceptance. That kind of love is hard to find. But let's dive in, and we're going to talk about Jesus in the meantime. He, in fact, we're talking to some of the teachers of the law. In fact, Mark 12:28 through 31 says, one of the teachers of the law came and heard them debating. Noticing that Jesus had given them a good answer, he asked them, of all the commandments, which is the most important? The most important one, answered Jesus, is, hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. And the second is this, love your neighbor as yourself. In fact, that's really the crux of every part of all the commandments, is if we don't know how to love each other, if we don't know how to speak kindly, if we don't know really how to dive in and talk about something as crazy as this Kavanaugh thing that can go, we can look at it from different sides, different angles, and fill in your own argument, your own debate that you've had with people. It doesn't matter the situation. How we address people, how we talk to people is critical, because there's so often we reject people. We don't even care about who they are because of the things that they say, the things they believe. And that's not right. It's not right at all. In fact, Martin Luther King Jr. said this, and I love this. I refuse to accept the view that mankind is so tragically bound to the starless midnight of racism and war that the bright daybreak of peace and brotherhood can never become a reality. I believe that unarmed truth and unconditional love will have the final word. That's huge, guys. He says, I refuse to accept this view. I refuse to accept it. In the end, he says, I believe that unarmed truth and unconditional love will have the final word. There are a lot of people that I don't agree with. It doesn't mean I have to be hateful. It doesn't mean I have to push them away and not show them the kind of love that, honestly, they need, that God has deemed them worthy of. In fact, Jesus goes a step further in John 13:35. He says this, if as a Christian, now I'm not talking to everybody here, but as a Christian, if you don't love others, then people will not even know that you're his disciples. John 13:35, by this everyone will know that you are my disciples if you love one another. It's not just, hey, let's just try our best. No. If we don't love one another, then there's no way that the world, the rest of humanity will know that we're even Jesus's. So we have all this claim, this boast, but in the end, maybe there's nothing there's nothing real there. In fact, he goes further in John 15:12. This is my commandment, that you love one another, even as I have loved you. It's a commandment. It's not just, here's a recommendation, here's what I think might be a good idea. No, love. Man, guys, love makes the world go around. Love takes people that are ready to blow their brains out, and someone loves on them, and suddenly they they decide, man, if somebody can love and accept me, it gives them a reason for wanting to get up tomorrow. And we've become so hateful in our society. And I'm not even going to talk about how we've become hateful, but you know we have. You know it. You're living it at your school, at your work. People are hateful to each other. Just be kind. Say nice things. Love on people. And in fact, it's so bad right now that Connor Oberst said this: I believe in a lot of ways unconditional love is a myth. My mom's the only reason I know it's a real thing. There should be enough Christians, and I'm going to pick on Christians because we should have it down. He says, I think in a lot of ways unconditional love is a myth. The fact that that can even be a thing, a thought, or a possibility, that it's not even real, is damning to those of us who are Christians, because it is real. In fact, he goes further. John again, go figure, 1 John 4:8, he says this: whoever does not love does not know God, because God is love. People who unconditionally love are the ones that are the most like God. You say you want to get closer to Jesus? You want to get closer to God? You want to have a closer walk with God? Then you better learn how to love and how to show unconditional love. It doesn't matter the situation, the scenario. When people encounter you, make sure you just ooze love. Make sure you exhibit, your light so shines before people that they see the love that you give and they know that you are Christ's. I think it's huge. It's a critical thing that we in our society are sorely lacking, and we can take the lead, guys. We can take the lead in showing people what it's like to love. And it doesn't matter if you work in a church, or you work at a car dealership, or you work at a Verizon store, or you go to school every day and you encounter people that are so unlovely. Love the unlovely. Love the people that nobody else is loving on. Sit next to the people at lunchtime that nobody else is sitting next to. Befriend those who need a friend. Dear God, that's what He placed us here for. That's exactly. In fact, if you don't love, then there's a good chance you don't know God, because 1 John 4:8 says that. So listen, guys, here's our challenge for the week. Love like God has loved you. And if you don't know how much God has loved you, call me, message me, and we'll talk about that, because it's huge. But I believe this, that we can make a difference in this world just by starting to love on and care for each other, the kind of love that He has shown us, that the Father has shown us. So, hey, if this has been a blessing to you, like and share this with your friends, and take that, truly take that as that challenge to heart. Let's make a difference in our world, can we? Let's do it.